as a, I guess, a promotional video. So, we're doing International Week. Oh, we've been doing it. We brought back Redeemed UK this week. Um, then we introduced Redeemed Canada this week. Both have been a great success on the channel. Looks like people love the international stuff. Like I don't know why. Britain loves Redeemed. Canada loves Redeemed. And I love you guys as well. Thank you so much. It sounds like it's calling these certain countries. These are the countries who looked at me first. I didn't look for these countries. These you guys got drawn to me. So I am forever grateful for that, and I want to continue to build on that because one, it's fun. I love. I've never got a chance to travel. I've never traveled before. This is the closest thing to traveling that I have is just talking to people from across the pond or, up above. It's just the closest thing to that. And it's kind of cool that I don't even have to be in your country to talk to you. I could be sitting in my room right here talking to somebody in Europe. I can be sitting in my room right here like I am talking to somebody in Canada. The technology is crazy, what 10 no we could do this 10 years ago, so what, maybe 20, 25 years ago, not really, right? 30 years ago, nah. But the technology has been great. I mean, unfortunately there's a lot of idiots that come up here and they say a lot of dumb stuff, but for the most part, I'd say overall it's been very helpful, just like with AI. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you. AI seems to be more of a bad thing than a good thing. I know a lot of people praise AI, but honestly, I think AI is actually going to be one of our downfalls. I do. But I mean, yeah, it can be used for great things, but you know, it seems like it's being used more for bad things and to make us way more lazy. But anyway, my point is I could be sitting in my room like I am and talk to people from different countries is insane. So this is the closest thing I have before I go there. I have dreams of going to the United Kingdom and bringing Redeemed over there and hoping to see Redeem UK over there and us chilling. Maybe I can preach over there. I do preach in case you guys actually, I'm not a pastor, but my job does require me to preach. Some of us have to, but then there are pastors there that actually do preach. I love to preach in the United Kingdom. One day I'd love to go to Canada, be looking for Redeem Canada, and we can chill and I can preach, and I'd love that and help people out in these areas in the UK and in Canada. So the point of all this is I'm going to be doing a joint live stream. Usually I do either Redeem UK or I'll do Redeem Canada, but what I'm going to do for the first time ever later on today is I'm going to be putting them together. It's going to be called, I was going to call it British Canada, but I don't I don't think that works. I don't know. It'll just be called the the joint stream. If you have a name for the joint stream, please put it in the comments. I don't know. British Canadian stream? I don't know. But I will be doing that. So what we'll be doing is we're going to be talking about both things happening in both countries. Both have a very similar problem with people invading the countries and spreading Islam. I didn't realize that this was happening in Canada in the same way. I did not know that. I knew it was happening in Britain. So we're going to be getting into that and other things as well. I want to continue to support, pray for you guys. And apparently, this is happening here in America, which I did not know. I did not know Islam was coming here too. Apparently, this is going on all over the place. I'm like, okay, this has gotten out of hand. And guess whose fault that is? That's our fault for not paying it. One, not paying attention, and two, not taking any action. So we've allowed these things to go on. So we gotta pray, you know. And I don't want you guys to think of it as just a racial thing. It's not just like a specifically oh, it's just a racial thing. If this race isn't here, then we don't have to worry about it. It's not that. This is a spiritual battle. Okay. So that means that I'm kind of getting into this kind of early of like literally diving into what this is supposed to be kind of like a promo. Not really that, but I want you to understand this as a spiritual battle. Okay. This is not a racial battle. This is a spiritual battle. But we're going to talk more about that later. So make sure you come back later, okay? Make sure you come back because the devil wants to confuse us, right? It's a very confusing thing of he puts people against each other and then what he does is he creates different religions to confuse people, right? And then it holds people bondage and then those people start spreading the wrong religion and they start trying to the whole point of this is to wipe out Jesus so that as many people do not get saved as possible and many people go to hell as much as possible. That is the whole point of this. So we need to do our due diligence and pray. Don't get lost in just the politics because it's easy to get lost in the politics of this whole mess that we're in. It's easy to. By me saying this, somebody probably thinks I'm radical right. How dare you talk about Christianity and how dare you talk about Islam? You must be a radical right. I'm not radical anything. But well, actually, I am. I'm radical Jesus. That's who I am. But oh, you must be super liberal. No, I'm not liberal. It's not about that, and I think this is what I'm going to try to come to. It's not about whether you're liberal, and it's not about whether you're Republican. It's not about whether you're conservative. It's not about whether you're a Democrat. There's a much bigger thing at play, rather than just politics, rather than just race, rather than this just gender. There is something going on in this world, and this is a spiritual battle. But what the enemy does is he plays it as it's just politics. It's beyond politics. This is about right and wrong. This is about Jesus Christ and the devil. This is about good. This is about evil. That doesn't mean that because you're a certain race or a certain political demographic, you are necessarily inherently just evil. But what this does mean is that there are people who are lost. And it is our job to bring the gospel of Jesus Christ to them. That is our sole responsibility. So, UK, that is your responsibility. Is those Muslims in your country, as you're spreading the gospel to them, it is your responsibility, or as you're spreading the gospel in your country, spread the gospel to those Muslims too. Actually, you probably should do that. Because think about it, they're coming in your country and they're doing that. So why not, since they're in your country, why not you tell them what the truth is? Why don't you show them how, this is the gospel of Jesus Christ? Canada, why don't you do that? Share it with them. They're obviously oh, I'm Muslim, so I'm not going to do this. But you'd be very surprised. There are many people I actually converted a Muslim to a Christian before. And in fact, I'm going to share that story with you later on in the stream. But this is just supposed to be a little promo. But apparently people are coming in here, leaving likes, and I'm like, because I was going to take this down, but maybe I should leave it up. Maybe I should just leave it up. I don't know. I don't know what the stream is going to be called later. I don't have a name for it, but just know it'll be the Redeemed UK Canadian stream. Well, maybe I should just call it British Canadian. It'll be called the British Canadian stream. I guess. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe the name doesn't matter. But my point is, I'm just trying to mash the two together. This is going to be the first time in history. This has never been done on Redeem Live. It's never been done. So right now I'm in my room. It's not really. I'm not ready for a real live stream. That's why it's just like this right now. This was just supposed to be a promo, just to get you ready for later. But I think that it's done more already in the promo, so hopefully it does just as well later on. So I'm gonna get ready to go, And because I got support, I'm gonna just leave this up. Why not? All right, guys. I don't know what time. Probably sometime in the afternoon. I got to do some cleaning and stuff. So probably sometime in the afternoon, I'll be back up here for the British Canadian live stream. So this was your boy Roberto, and I was back again with another like redeemed live promo. I guess is what you call this. And until next time, until later on, I'll see you. Peace.